Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on what is honestly one of the most frustrating problems of modern life. I mean, if you've ever felt like you're just running a marathon every single day but somehow barely moving the needle on your actual goals, yeah, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to draw on Stephen Covey's groundbreaking principles to completely shift your paradigm. Okay, let's dive into this, because here is the ultimate solution right from the start. We're looking at the fundamental difference between people who are constantly busy and the people who actually get meaningful results. You know, most of us just assume the answer to getting more done is to work faster, sleep less, or maybe download some magical new productivity app. But here's the harsh truth. Running faster on a hamster wheel, well, it really just makes you a faster hamster. The real secret to escaping that busy trap is a state of mind and action called Quadrant 2 proactivity. And no, it's not about working harder. It's about fundamentally shifting your paradigm to a principle-centered state. So what does that actually mean for us? It means dedicating your precious time and energy to things that are deeply important to your life goals, but, and here's the catch, they aren't necessarily screaming for your immediate attention. It is the ultimate shift from merely reacting to everything around you to proactively designing your own life. But before we can master that proactive state, we kind of need to understand how human effectiveness actually develops, right? We aren't just born highly effective. We have to grow into it, moving along what Covey calls the maturity continuum. This is a totally natural, sequential, and honestly incredibly powerful progression of personal development. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly maps out our growth. We all start out at dependence, relying on others to take care of us, to direct us. Then, the first major victory is moving to independence, where we take responsibility for our own actions and finally become self-reliant. But that's not actually the end goal. The absolute highest level of effectiveness is interdependence. That's where we combine our independent strengths with others to create this really powerful, synergistic collaboration. But you just can't achieve true interdependence without mastering your own independence first. And mastering that independence, it begins with a choice. Think about your own mindset for a second. Are you reactive? You see, reactive people are driven by their environment. If the weather is good, they feel good. If the market is down, they are down. They're constantly just getting pushed around by whatever external stimuli hit them. On the flip side is the proactive mindset. Proactive people literally carry their own weather. Whether it's raining or shining outside makes zero difference to them, because they're driven by carefully meditated internal values. Which brings us to this brilliant little linguistic breakdown. Just think about the word itself for a second, responsibility. It is quite literally your responsibility, your ability to choose your response to any given situation. Highly effective, proactive people, they never blame conditions or circumstances or their upbringing for their behavior. They recognize that right there, in that split second between a stimulus and their response, they have the ultimate freedom to choose. Let me share a real-world story to show exactly how this plays out. Picture an organization facing a massive, severe financial crisis. On day one of their big emergency meeting, the totally reactive question on everyone's mind was, what is going to happen to us? By day two, they were obsessing over environmental trends, assuming the absolute worst, and frankly, everyone was just incredibly depressed. But on day three, they made this conscious, dramatic shift. They finally asked the proactive question. What is our response? How can we actually take the initiative here? And by focusing exclusively on their circle of influence, meaning the things they could actually change rather than the things they couldn't, everything transformed. I mean, they spent the morning on cost control. They spent the afternoon brainstorming how to expand their market. They generated real, practical, actionable ideas. And by the end of day three, that paralyzing despair had completely vanished. It was replaced with this incredible spirit of hope, excitement, and proactive awareness. They basically stopped worrying about the storm outside and just started building a better ship. And this brilliantly illustrates the visual core of our explainer today. If you want to carry your own weather and really focus on your circle of influence, you have to understand how you are currently spending your time. We do this using the time management matrix. Honestly, this is a total game changer. It categorizes literally everything we do based on two crucial factors. Urgency, so things that demand your immediate attention right now, and importance, things that actually contribute to your long-term mission and values. Okay, let's look at the first block here. Quadrant I is both urgent and important. This is the crisis zone. Living here results in immense stress, burnout, and just endless crisis management. You are constantly putting out fires. And yeah, while some Quadrant I activities are unavoidable, people who spend all their time living in this space are eventually just completely consumed by the pressure. Next, we drop down to Quadrant 3. This one's tricky. It's the deception zone because it is urgent, but it is not important. It's that totally unnecessary meeting or the constant interruptions. Think of it as the endless pinging of your group chats or your inbox demanding attention. The results? A super short-term focus, kind of a chameleon-like character where you're always trying to please others in the moment, fragile relationships, and this deep, sinking feeling that your life is just totally out of your control. Then, over here, we have quadrant 4. This is neither urgent nor important. Welcome to the waste zone. It's the mindless scrolling, the trivial busy work, and excessive leisure. And the results of spending too much time here are pretty bleak. Total irresponsibility, unhealthy dependence on others, and honestly, in a professional setting, it can literally lead to getting fired. It is pure escapism from the crushing stress of quadrants 1 and 3.
So the crucial point is, where should we actually be spending our time? Well, the answer is Quadrant 2. This is the zone of true effectiveness. It is important, but it is not urgent. Just look at the results here. Vision, perspective, balance, discipline, control, and significantly fewer crises. This is the absolute heart of personal management. Highly effective people stay out of quadrants 3 and 4. They actively shrink quadrant 1, and they invest heavily right here in quadrant 2.
But what exactly happens in quadrant 2? Well, it's basically all the things we know we absolutely should do, but we rarely get around to because they aren't screaming at us. It's preventative maintenance, building deep relationships, recognizing new opportunities, long-range planning, and true restorative recreation. When you invest your time in these activities, you are literally fixing problems at their root. By doing the important work before it becomes an emergency, you drastically shrink those massive crises that normally blow up in quadrant I. Let's move to and see how this builds into a massively powerful concept, the Pareto principle. Now, you've probably heard that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your activities, right? Well, quadrant 2 is that 20%. It is the ultimate leverage point. Spending your time proactively designing your life, planning ahead, and building your capacity, that yields exponential returns on your personal effectiveness. Which brings us to the most important question for you today. I want you to take a hard, truly honest look at your days. Which quadrant are you actually living in? Are you totally exhausted from constantly fighting fires, or maybe deceived by the endless illusion of urgency? The matrix is right there, and it's yours to manage. So the question is, what are you going to choose to do with your time tomorrow?